Greetings, Desmond Bertrand Pitts, CEO of the Buffalo Soldier National Museum. Just over 2 weeks ago, we were faced with vandalism on our building. So it's taken quite some time for me to come up with a statement without being so emotional getting through this, but here it goes. On July 28th, 1866, Congress established the first peacetime all-black regiments after the end of the Civil War. In 1992, Congress passed legislation designating this day as Buffalo Soldier Day. On July 28, 2020, we introduced our 1866 relief campaign, released a documentary, and nationally we were celebrating Black soldiers who were on the vanguard of civilization. We also, on that day this year, became the latest target of racism, hate, prejudice, and vandalism. The defacing of our building is a direct attack on our race, our culture, and our history. We are deeply troubled, hurt, and disturbed by this act of hate. On Wednesday, July 29th, as I sat at the front desk, I decided I would answer the phone because it was ringing off the hook that day. I knew since we had just become the latest target of blatant racism, many people would be calling to support. I wanted to extend them the courtesy of speaking with someone, and why not me? The first call was not one calling for showing support. The caller asked me, "How does it feel?" Then proceeded to say, "Yeah, I'm white. Y'all are tearing down our heritage. So how does it feel to have yours vandalized?" I was angered, but I did not engage in conversation. I ended the call for several reasons. One being the history of the building itself, which I will elaborate on later. Secondly, I'm a Christian and refuse to be provoked. And thirdly, I'm a professional and will not engage with ignorance. First Lady Michelle Obama once said, "When they go low, we go high." And I did just that. What the call taught me was that we must deal with the harsh reality that racism exists and none of us are ruled out as a target. It calls to question, when does that time come when we are truly all created equal, when we can truly hold hands in harmony and let love lead? Love is so much stronger than hate. It has the power to change the world. It has the ability to heal people. It gives rather than takes. It blooms with positivity. Hate, on the other hand, has so much energy involved. Anger and destructive thought. Who would choose hate over love other than an individual who isn't happy with themselves? Let this serve as a warning to anybody fueled with hate. We are all in for some good, necessary trouble. We will not be silenced. The anti-racism movement will continue and hate will not win. On the positive side, there has been overwhelming outpour of support from the community, neighbors, business owners, donors, colleagues, and patrons who we are greatly appreciative for. A little history of the Armory, which is the building that we're in. The Houston Light Guards, one of the oldest National Guard companies in the state, became the first uniformed militia company in post-Reconstruction Houston. Confederate veterans began to organize the unit in the fall of 1872. By April 6, 1873, the necessary signatures appeared on the roll and city officials notarized the charter. In 1925, the Houston Light Guard sold its original armory and with the proceeds built a new $125,000 building at 3816 Caroline Street. From 1873 to World War I, the Houston Light Guard mustered the social elite of Houston's young men. Subsequently, the establishment of the reserve Officer Training Corps and the Army Reserve offered these men the prestige of the officer corps. Consequently, after 1922, the enlisted membership of the unit represented the working class. The desire to avoid the draft motivated enlistments from the end of World War II through 1972. As a result, mostly white, middle and upper class membership became the norm. The first Hispanics joined in the 1930s and the first blacks in the mid-1960s, aside from John Sessoms, a drummer from the unit in the 1870s and 1880s. My response to the Black Lives Matter movement / anti-racism movement. For centuries, black men and women have been the target of white supremacy, racism, marginalization, police brutality, and oppression. Our current racial climate shows that much has changed, but we have a long way to go. We are now fighting to keep knees off our necks, hoping to not get killed during a routine traffic stop, and praying that the next time we open the door, we won't be shot. Black people have been fighting, hoping, and praying for centuries for civil liberties, and 400 plus years later, we are still on the battlefield. I'm reminded of our great leaders, our civil rights founding fathers, and all of those who helped to fight for our civil liberties. What would they say now? Congressman John Lewis, who just passed away, left us with marching orders, writing, "When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate. At last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide." Great marching orders from a great person. On the necks, so to speak, of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many others who were murdered before them, we find ourselves in a new civil rights era, what we call the Black Lives Matter movement. It is a harsh reality that in 2020, we still live in separate and unequal society, but we shall overcome. We will not be silenced even if it takes another 10, 20, or 100 years for true equality to reign. But I am in for the fight, and the museum is in for the fight. For many, many years, there has been racial inequities in funding. Our museum is not outside of that as well. The fate of our black museums wait in the balance due to an overwhelming disparity in funding. Every year we struggle to meet fundraising goals because of inequities in funding. Philanthropy is solely not based on merit, which many black-led organizations have, but rather larger staff, budget size, and things of the sort that are factors that contribute to this. According to Echoing Green, there's a $20 million funding gap between white-led organizations and black-led organizations. Average revenues are 24% less with black-led organizations and 76% less in unrestricted net assets. Research shows that there are many barriers between black-led nonprofits with foundations and corporations, one being the lack of trust in areas such as receiving data, reporting, and accurate stewardship. The reality is our organizations cannot build on our infrastructure until we build capacity, which takes funding. 33% of museums will not reopen this year or next year. Imagine how many of them are Black. Many people know, and not all, that the museum is a part of my legacy. My grandfather, a Vietnam veteran, founded this museum on the hopes of creating a space where people from all backgrounds can engage with the history of Black men and women who risked their lives in the defense of the United States of America by way of military service. I grew up watching him present to groups from around the world, give tours to eager patrons. The passion that he exudes inspires me to continue this legacy. I am challenged with ensuring that this vision lives on for generations to come. As CEO of this institution and his grandson, I intend to master this challenge. So what is our path forward? It is clear that our history is as much about today and tomorrow as it is about yesterday. One of my heroes, again, John Lewis, said it best: if not us, then who? If not when? If not now, then when? Our path forward consists of us doing the work now. We are fully committed to ensuring that our community has access to their history, receive the resources needed to thrive, and are educated on the contributions of Black men and women in defense of our nation. A few ways that we are dedicated to moving forward and in our path forward. We have a major gifts program, the Path Forward, where we're trying to raise $5 million, which will help to continue the preservation of the building, build capacity, expand programming, exhibitions, increase technology, advance collections management and storage, and more community resources, as well as digitization of archives. We have a Radiant Forward program, which is a platform where we talk about veteran resources and STEAM education and mental health. On the Front Lines is a podcast and blog where we're discussing anti-racism movement, Black lives, racial and social injustices, marginalization, and things of that sort that will help to aid the community in the response. Grit and Determination, or is our oral history program, where we talk to veterans about their experiences in civilian life, but also in military life on the battlefield. We act as a community resource hub. We have things like the Black Market that happens twice a month at the museum, where there are over 50 Black-owned businesses selling items. A part of our commitment is to ensure that these businesses continue to thrive. So we will continue to have things of that sort, working with partners to make sure that we have events like this, and we use our facility and our ability to continue to support Black-owned businesses. Story time, a living history, where we have reenactors, we have actors who we support them and give them stories to reenact in front of our audiences, our tour groups. So it's supporting Black artists. We have mindfulness meditation, which is geared towards mental health and accountability. Doing exhibitions from new and upcoming artists, but also veteran artists in the Houston community. Overall, it is my hope that our world move beyond hate and begin to spread more love than ever before. I leave you with this. Education is the most powerful weapon to which we can use to change the world. That was a statement by Nelson Mandela, and that is what we continue to do at the Buffalo Soldier National Museum, also known as the Center for African American Military History. If it is of your desire to help us continue on our path forward, please visit our website, buffalosoldiermuseum.com, and find out ways that you can help, ways that you can give, ways that you can volunteer, support, and be a part of our path forward. Next year, we are celebrating 20 years, so get ready for some exciting things, exciting programs, exciting events in our next stage, in our next phase of our journey. Thanks.